Hello, everybody, and welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to our double header episode because it's actually a review and a preview together. That's what happens when you have games in midweek. So we're gonna sort of do a review of the games that went by, but more of a preview of the games that are coming. So we'll try to do both, and we'll see how far along we get. But joining me today on the show, once again, welcome Nishikant back. It's been a while since you had you, but it's great to have you back again.
Glad to be back.
Yes, and also we have Knayha joining us today. So Knayha, welcome as well.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great. Yes, we have our usual suspects back today after that midweek video that we did with Farhan and Mike for the appointment of Ralph Rangnick. If you haven't seen that one yet, do check it out. So it's a nice little conversation that we had there. But on that note, we'll kind of get started and look forward. And we've got so many things to look forward to. I think we'll start a little bit off track here. Nishikant, we spoke about Norwich to start off with, and we were like talking about how many points are they going to get, dead certs for relegation. But slowly, it looks like Dean Smith has come in. He's kind of, I don't know whether it's a new manager bounce, whether it's doing something, but they've actually started to pick up a few points here and there. I mean, who knew? If you sign players on loan and you actually play them, that it makes it makes a difference. But looks like Brandon Williams, Billy Gilmore, they're doing well for Norwich and they're helping them out. Yeah. Do you still see them as maybe getting out of relegation? Do you think there's a chance for them to kind of get out of relegation still?
I don't see that happening. I mean, they haven't lost in the last 4 games, right? So that's definitely a good thing. Much needed points from Norwich perspective. But I don't really see them, getting out of the relegation zone. I still think, they've always been a club who's up one year, down the next, then up again and down again, right? So I expect that same thing to happen. I don't really see the team as they simply do not have like the team that can kind of keep them up. There's a lot of competition considering Watford and Southampton, who have kind of a lot better teams, but they're still in the bottom half of the table and would be, if Norwich were to get out, they'd have competition with teams like Southampton and Leeds United, right? Who I think have a lot better personnel. So I think Norwich would probably still miss out on staying in the Premier League and would likely get relegated.
Yeah, makes sense. It's a nice little story, but yeah, we don't know where that's going to end. They're actually up to 18th now. We thought they would never get out of the 20th spot. They're actually up to 18th, so not that far away. But on the flip side, I mean, talking about Newcastle, I mean, they were lucky in some ways to get away with the point. Losing on 3 might have been disastrous, but we keep having this conversation, because they're obviously going to bring players in January, but there's a chance that they might get cut adrift of it. It might be too late by that point for them even to get players. It's what can Howe do? What can Newcastle do to kind of maybe get through to December? And because they're still the only team that hasn't won a game yet. It's just funny as longer it goes on, but there's just something that's not clicking.
Absolutely, I think we've spoken about it previously as well, and we've said that money doesn't buy you games. You still have to perform. The whole thing is, there's the good thing is they're scoring, but then they're conceding at the same rate. So something has to stop. Like they have to improve scoring more goals, or they have to improve defensively. Something has to happen there. And generally, December is a time where you have games coming thick and fast. You know where they're going to stand. Like they should have won this Norwich game. And I could even say that's for Norwich. Norwich should have won that game because both had equal chances. It was just like it just ended in a draw, and that's it. But the games that are coming next, so Newcastle plays Burnley next, which it's actually a relegation battle again. Like they're playing the 3rd team in the relegation. So, but after that, it just becomes a little tougher for them because the next 4 games after that is Leicester, Liverpool, City, and United. Like. So
3 tough games.
Exactly. So I would even say that if they get a draw in these 4, that's a good result. Like if you even see Norwich, they're also they're going to be struggling. All the bottom I think right now the relegation teams have really tough fixtures in the December window. But then for Howe to kind of put his stamp on it, I think he has to focus maybe defensively more, at least try to make it like difficult for people to score. They can score from open play. They have good players. Wilson is back, Fraser is playing good, so they have Maximan as well, so they have some quick players who can play counter. So but I just the problem again is the fact that they're getting a manager in the mid, like just before the mid. That's it will take a couple of games for Eddie Howe to actually put his stamp on that team as well. And do they have that time? I don't know.
Yeah, well, at the moment, they are not that far off. They're 6 points off of Watford. So, I mean, there's still obviously hope. Then they're going to play Burnley next, which is another relegation 6-pointer. So that'll be interesting to watch. We'll kind of switch gears to more closer to the top now, since we've done our obligatory bottom table stuff that to make people happy. No, I'm kidding. But we'll talk about Chelsea, Nishikant, because they scraped a result against Watford in some ways. I think they were a bit lucky. Nobody's complaining. You get those kind of games, and we were actually talking about it before we got on air here. Is it? I actually thought this. Is it injuries that are catching up to Chelsea at the moment, because they're missing quite a few players now, aren't they? Going into this one.
Definitely. I mean, we in the system that Chelsea plays, wing backs have a very important role in terms of the attack contributions, and both are so both our wing backs, Ben Chilwell and Reece James, did not play, and not to mention our midfield has been seriously weakened with both all three, Jorginho, Conte, and Kovacic, being injured. So we had to put in Saul, who I think is probably the worst loan signing we have ever made. And Ruben Loftus-Cheek. So that was a pretty weak midfield, pretty weak fullback line. I mean, I love Azpilicueta, but at his age, he's probably more suited to the right center back role than the right wing back. So and Alonso is Alonso. He's either going to have a great game or he'll be abysmal. So we can't really depend on Alonso. So that's where we are at. Hopefully, going by the presser today, luckily it looks like Jorginho is fit. So hopefully we can have, we no longer need to have Saul, and so is Reece James. So hopefully, at least on the right side, we will have our main fullback, the specialist fullback, back in the game.
What was the injury to Jorginho? Was it the injury to his pride after that goal that he gave up? I'm just kidding. No
idea. I guess it's just some fatigue or probably. But it's definitely injury, and we were extremely lucky against Watford to get anything from that game. Throughout the season, our defense has been something that I've not had to worry about a bit personally as a Chelsea fan. That any game we go into, I'm kind of sure that we'd likely not concede. Right? But looking at the game that we had against West Ham, our defense was at times very shaky. Watford. Yeah, West Ham is the coming one. But Watford, it was very shaky. And that doesn't really fill me with confidence for our upcoming game, because we now, Watford is, I think, 17th or 18th in the
17th.
table.
Right? 17th.
Yeah, 17th. And West Ham is a top 4 team. So hopefully with these players being back, maybe it'll give us a bit more defensive surety.
Well, if it fills you with any confidence, I mean, Watford did hammer United 4-1 and West Ham did lose to United. So, you never know how these things go. But can I talk about West Ham, actually? I mean, it's actually a good time for Chelsea to play West Ham, I think, because right now, the same, I think, could be said for West Ham as well. I think not that injuries, but games seem to be catching up to them as well. Like, they lost,
probably the Europa League.
They lost to Wolves, they lost to City, they drew with Brighton, which they probably should have won. So, I mean, it's a good time for Chelsea to be playing West Ham. I mean, it's never a good time, but it's probably a good time to be playing a team of that caliber right now, considering that the injuries that Chelsea have and the fact that they kind of, the form.
Yeah, I mean, on the flip side, West Ham might be motivated to get something against us. It's a London derby as well, right? And these games, West Ham, usually, have been known to cause upset in such games, right? And they definitely have good players. They have a good coach. So I wouldn't be surprised if they pull off an upset tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, going by the record, they haven't won in last 3 games. So that's definitely something that plays in our favor. But at the same time, that's also something that could play against us. It might make the players more motivated to perform in a London derby against their London rivals. Because if you win a game like this, fans kind of tend to forget what you did in last 5 games because you've just defeated a London rivals, and not just any London rivals, but the team that's on the top of the table. Right? So it's a double-edged sword, I'd say.
Yeah. Knayha, I mean that are West Ham too reliant on Declan Rice? You think West Ham that midfield relies too much on Declan Rice, or do you think he's a cog in the machine?
I think it's not only him. He's getting a lot of attention because he's an England player. It's not only him. We're not talking about Souček anymore, and he's the one who scored the goal. So I don't think he is the one. But then, yeah, it's the media that kind of puts him as the main player. Maybe he's looking for a transfer or something. Maybe he wants something. I don't know. But then he is a key player. He plays deep. He comes in the right positions, but he doesn't have the movement that Souček has, like how he moves in a box while for the second ball when it's a set piece and so on. So he definitely keeps them moving. I think that's he puts in the effort. Like in the game against Brighton, he lost a lot of balls, but he kind of was still making the effort to kind of go back, try to win it again. So it was and that game again could have gone like it I don't know how it ended as a draw. How Brighton didn't score 4, I don't know. But yeah, it was one of those games where you suddenly feel that again the games are catching up. So as Nishikant said, the game with West Ham, Chelsea, I think it's going to be a treat to watch. To be frank, it could either go like the first 10 minutes. I think would define the game in my mind. I think it's basically going to be if Chelsea is defensive, if Reece James is again on his form because he's coming back from an injury as well. So you need to kind of also it's a December, it's back to back. You don't want to kind of play the short game here. It's much longer. So it could be cagey, basically both saying to each other, like, we don't need to push each other here. Draw is good enough for both. Maybe Chelsea or West Ham. But West Ham has nothing to lose here.
Oh, I think
spot to lose. So it's going to be interesting. So I think it's going to be, in my mind, it's going to be cagey. But West Ham, that midfield is amazing right now. Benrahma is not, for West Ham, Benrahma is not scoring the way he did. He missed a very it should have been the goal when within 15 minutes against Brighton. But Souček, Rice, Bowen has been performing. They have Fornals as well. So it's a good packed midfield. They can, but it also depends how fatigued they are also, because I think December is going to be all about dead legs and cramps and people just kind of surviving.
Yeah, because they've also got the Europa League game coming. I don't know if they've already, I'm sure they've already qualified, but
they want
to finish top, because when you finish top, you can avoid playing 2 extra games that you don't have to play. So, yeah. I mean, the round of 32, you won't have to play that. So that will be something that I'm sure they'll be thinking about as well. I don't know if they've already qualified in tops. That might be something. And then they've got the League Cup as well. And I think and then, so there's still in 3 fronts, and plus the FA Cup will start as well. So be interesting. You talk about Brighton. One thing that we can always say about Brighton is you always wonder how they don't score a lot of goals, because that's, I think, been a problem for them for a long time, where they create a lot of chances, but then they only score 1 goal or 2 goals. I don't know. Yeah. There's something that's always an issue. But anyway, Nishikant, what's your prediction for this one for West Ham?
Chelsea, West Ham. I'm gonna say 1-1.
Yeah, well, I mean, why
think this is the game.
When will Nishikant ever say that Chelsea will win a game? Like, when will that happen?
Last time,
maybe when they have won the title and it's decided.
I don't remember who were playing, but the last time I was, on your show, I said that it was Leicester, I think, and I said that
2-1,
I 2-1, but I also said I don't really see them scoring against us. and I said 2-1 being conservative, but they didn't
You're
score
always
against us.
conservative.
But yeah, but given the fact, it's not as much about defense, but with both our fullbacks gone, our attack really struggles without them.
No,
So
that's
I
fair.
don't see us scoring a lot of goals, and West Ham have a pretty good attack, like you said, Bowen, and
Antonio.
then they have Antonio, obviously.
Antonio, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic striker. So I expect them to score a goal because we conceded against United, we conceded against Watford, and now this one. I expect us to kind of concede at least one goal. Just a gut feeling, and I
That's
don't
fine. I
see
was
us
just-
scoring a lot of goals.
It's okay. I was just kind of like messing with you. That's okay. 1-1. I think it's a fair prediction. I think. And then so I interrupted you before. I think you might wanted to say something about Brighton, but
Yeah, I was just trying to say that, like, if you see the Brighton game, they had so many easy chances to score goals, but then they had to Neil Moape had to kind of do a bicycle.
yeah, that's just Brighton. I think. Yeah, that's just Brighton.
Yeah.
But
I'm
anyway,
like, they made it hard for themselves. But anyway,
your prediction.
it's West Ham 3, Chelsea 1.
Oh wow! Nishikant is going to smile broadly because he's happy. If somebody picks Chelsea not to win, Nishikant gets broad smile on his face. Wow, that's a very bold prediction actually. 3-1 to West Ham. Wow,
Yeah.
that's that is, well, I mean, I don't know.
Could be it because it
It
that's
is
what I'm saying.
bold, but it's not out there, to be honest. Yeah, that can happen.
No, if Knayha had said 3-1 to Chelsea, then you would have said it's out there. The other way is never out there. I could say 5-0 to West Ham, and Nishikant, it's not out there. It can happen. Oh my!
5-0 is
No,
definitely
I don't know. Yeah, I think it will be a 2-2 draw. And I think it will be a draw as well, which I'm kind
I'm
of
expecting a draw. I don't really see us conceding. I mean, our defense may not be at the best right now, but 3 goals we are not going to concede that many. It's probably going to be a 1-1 draw. Maybe a 2-2 draw, like you said, but I'd still go for a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, I just have a feeling, which is kind of sad because I mean, Chelsea, we want people. It'd be nice for Chelsea to win the league because I'm tired of Liverpool.
No, it's still going to be between Pool and City.
Yeah,
as much as you'd hate
that's
that.
enough.
Yeah, I know.
that's enough. No, I would like.
I
Chelsea
mean,
to win
we
the
are
league.
the surprising contenders, though, to be honest, right? I mean, we barely finished 4th. Tottenham had to help us of all the clubs that could help us. It had to be Tottenham.
Yeah, but you did. You're the champions of Europe, man. So
Yeah, exactly. So,
in a knockout game, knockout tournament.
yeah,
That's a
maybe
different.
I should think of the league as a knockout tournament as well, because I think as I do believe that once Chelsea go off the top, I don't think they'll be able to regain the position back. So they need to keep
won't.
staying.
And thing is, we
as
only play well while we are underdogs.
Wow.
The moment we become favorites, we don't play well.
Okay. Well, anyway, there's some little self-deprecation, Chelsea's fans self-deprecation. So we'll move on. We'll talk about Arsenal actually. We'll stay in London. We'll talk about Arsenal because, I mean, the thing is, a lot of people were like, well, Arsenal lost the game. I just feel like that was a winnable game, wasn't it, against United? I mean, everything seemed to be going for them. It was. I am surprised they didn't win that game, to be honest, considering that they got that goal. But is it a talent block or is it a mental block that they're not able to win these sort of games? What do you think is the issue?
I think it's a talent block rather than mental block. I mean, people often jump on the bandwagon that Arsenal have spent so much money and they have spent more than any top 4 club, or I don't know if it's any, but they have spent more than
any club in Europe. They're the highest spenders in Europe.
Any club.
Yeah, they have definitely spent more than the top 4 English club. But the thing is, the players they have spent that money on aren't really the player that's going to take them to top 4. And rightly so, because that's a team that hasn't been in top 4 for a while. They finished outside Europe completely last season. So this is a team that's kind of looking to get back into Europe, right? And not a team that's looking to get back into title race. So they have signed accordingly. Now, obviously, these days, there's so much inflation, and when a team like a famous team from England comes to buy a player, the price that you would pay for the same player to a team like Watford, you would probably add $10 million to that, when a team like Arsenal, and 20 million if a team like Chelsea or Manchester City comes to buy that player, right? So that adds into the fact that these players have been costly, but these are not the players that are going to win them the league, at least not this season. That probably need more time. And if you were to, you're definitely asking me, but in my opinion, they need, more signings and kind of more talented players, better players than the players that they have got right now, to be actually challenging for the league. And I think that's quite far away. They first need to start finishing in the Europe, top 5, top 6 for Europa, and then top 4, and then challenging for the league. So, but yeah, coming to your question, could they have won the game? Yes, they could have won the game. I mean, it was pretty close. I still think that United had more chances. There were some saves that De Gea made. I think there was one from a
Two
set
good
piece or
saves.
something. Yeah, that he made.
Couple of good saves. There was some nice.
Yeah, a couple of good saves. So obviously, but you would expect that from De Gea, right? So I wouldn't put that against United.
Well, yeah. Maybe this season, not last season.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe
so
no wonder he was the man of the month for United.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
so I would expect that. I mean, yeah, it's not a surprise. I wouldn't put that against United necessarily, that because De Gea had to make a save, that means United played bad. I don't think so. I mean, for me, pound to pound, United have better players than Arsenal, and it showed yesterday. Still, obviously, Arsenal could have won it. United have lost against teams, but much lesser teams. But I'm not surprised that Arsenal did not win it. And I see a lot on social media, Arsenal fans asking for Arteta to have been sacked a long way back, and that he's not the right
That's
man.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, even if it happens, I'm 100%. It doesn't matter who comes. This is not a team that is ready to challenge for the top 4 that's currently there. Or even the traditional top 4, if you Chelsea, City, Liverpool, and Man United. If you see the traditional top 4, this is not the team that's good enough to challenge them. And it's not a criticism. It's just it's just step by step you have to go. They are where they are right now. They are where they were last season. They have to take step by step, baby steps to go, come back into Europe, and then think about anything else. Mm-hmm. And I think Arteta is doing that. He has made a remarkable turnaround from what we saw at the beginning of the season, how Arsenal were playing. Granted, they had a lot of players absent, and that probably added to the misery that they had at the beginning of the season. But they are doing what the team is capable of. I have no surprises that they lost against Liverpool and they lost against Manchester United. That's absolutely no surprise for me.
I think it's more like who does who do you expect to score that kind of have that.
Players like Auba, etc. I don't know.
They're not doing the job.
Out of form.
Auba is completely out of form. He's you just play him week in, week out, and and then you can't, you're looking at boys. You're looking at Smith Rowe to kind of being your savior. Martinelli, Saka, like that. Okay, it's good to have those like once in a week where it's a big game, you suddenly score and you're the hero. You can't expect them to do this week in, week out.
They need another transfer window like the one they had just now, right?
Exactly.
One transfer window like this is not going to help.
And I think they need to kind of. I think that they need to tell a lot of people. They need to move out a lot of people. In my mind, like the ones that have not been performing. I think they're just carrying dead weight right now. There's a lot of dead weight. Yeah. So I think Arteta has done a great job with kind of shaking the whole tree, like basically saying that I will get even a new keeper. So Ramsdale starting, everyone's like, are you crazy? You spend 32 million on him, and then suddenly he's making Spider-Man saves. Like, what's happening there? But then you're suddenly having Smith Rowe,
and even Tomiyasu, the Japanese guy they got
Tomiyasu, right back exactly.
Tomiyasu, Tomiyasu.
And he's being amazing. I'm like Tomiyasu, Ben White. So, and you can see Nuno Tavares is keeping their right back. Tierney, he's out. He's not getting chance to play, and he was their best player the last end of the season.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
and
yeah.
but I think in the United, I would say that it was there was a game in second half where United didn't come scared. They were like, we will concede goals, but we will score more than them.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about United, obviously. I mean, well, I mean, Nishikant touched on the point about transfer fees, and like, when Arsenal comes, you charge 10 million. When Chelsea comes, you charge, or City comes, you charge 20 million. When United come, United always start at 30 million more than what is supposed to be offered, and then the club asks for another 20 million more, so they actually pay 50 million more, because that's how United negotiations go. Hopefully, that will change. But yeah, I mean, you touched on a good point there. I feel Aubameyang at this point is a liability for this team. I mean, I don't know, maybe people are wrong, but I just feel that he needs to be. I don't know what you do with him, because you paid him so much money for a new contract. Do you drop him? But I think he needs to be dropped for a while. Just again, sometimes you just need players to be shaken up. You need to tell them that it's not your divine right to start every game. So maybe that is something. But changing gears, actually, we'll talk about Everton as well, because that's who they're playing. They actually had a decent start to the season. But I mean, Rafael Benitez is now like pretty much odds-on favorite to be the next person sacked, because I mean, they lost to Liverpool pretty badly. For
Yeah, he
one, and
probably
now they're
will be
coming up
sacked.
against
Yeah, but
Arsenal.
it's see. He would never suit their style. Everyone knew that from the start, like the way Everton used to play and how Rafa likes to set it up. He goes defensive from the start. Like he does not like to press immediately. So we knew that it was not the best way, and they're missing players. So Everton is missing, I think, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's not there. He's their talisman right now. So he has been a talisman for a couple of seasons now, and they're missing him really, really badly right now. Last 5 games, they've not been doing well. Liverpool was not supposed to be easy. I think the first goal, getting that goal at 2-1, it was, I think, just a lucky break in my mind. But then I don't think he's getting sacked. I don't think he will get sacked, because Everton would kind of be like maybe end of the season when they know that they're going through a really bad patch. And sacking a manager who of Rafa's caliber, I'm just thinking again, like it again kind of reshuffles the whole thing. It doesn't help them.
Yeah.
Right now, it would have helped them if they were like bottom. They're not bottom, so and they're not close to the bottom as well. So they're in the middle right now. 14th, doing well. Not a good streak, but they're not. They're 15 points. They have some legway there. Next couple of game weeks, if they just kind of hold off, they have Arsenal next, they have Crystal Palace, then Chelsea, Leicester, and Burnley. So if they get a result against Arsenal and Crystal Palace, and then Chelsea could be, and it's just about it just takes one game and one good game where you kind of suddenly gel in together and you come out as a squad. I think the problem has been that they're missing that goal scorer. Gray is a good player. Like, I really like the way he kind of moves, but he can't be your go-to to score like crucial goals. You're playing, Rondon is up. You're getting Richarlison. He's back from an injury. You were looking at Townsend a lot. Townsend was your talisman suddenly. At the start of the season, he was scoring a lot of goals, but then it's you need to have a squad which has a good backup as well. Like you need that, and Rafa doesn't have that right now. So I feel that it's going to take some time. But then you just need to give him time. If they sack him, I don't know who they get in as well.
Well, I mean, Steve Bruce is available, Sam Allardyce is
Always.
available. There's a lot of players, people out there. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is available. They want him.
Wow.
But anyway, well, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? I wonder if Richarlison, this is not a question for you guys, but I wonder if Richarlison is like a B-Tech Neymar, another player whose ability doesn't not necessarily match the hype around him. Sometimes I feel that way with Richarlison. But anyway,
it's not about him. I feel it's not.
What would you say about Zaha then?
Exactly. Like, I'm like,
I think Zaha is a good player in a very average team, which makes him look much better than he actually is. I just feel that way. Like, and of course, he's been priced out of the market so quickly. Palace keep asking for 80 million. Nobody's paying 80 million for him. So, I mean, that's just something. But, it's just weird. Anyway, Nishikant, what's your prediction for this one? Arsenal against Everton.
I hope Everton wins. I would, but I think 2-0 to Arsenal.
Knayha, what do you think?
I think it's a draw. It's going to be a 1-1 draw.
All right. Well,
That
yeah,
would do for
just
me.
Knayha hates London clubs. I think that's just what we have to kind of go. That he just hates London clubs, so, or at least the top London clubs. He doesn't like them. So it's like, yeah, he's
Yeah.
pretty much going
No,
against.
it's because it, both of them, Arsenal has been in top form, so they will. I think Arsenal does score, but then Everton does get one back as well, and that's it, and they lose momentum. Arsenal generally, when they concede, they're kind of a little shaken, so they kind of go back. So I don't see them kind of.
That will be
So
interesting.
it's
Yeah,
a draw.
Thursday was the first time that they've lost a game after taking the lead as well. So this season, so that's good stat to keep in mind. We'll stay in London. We'll talk about Tottenham because slowly but surely, Knayha, it looks like Conte is getting something. They kept a clean sheet. They won against Brentford, and Brentford is not the most expansive of teams, but they can cause an upset here or there. It looks like Conte ball is coming around Spurs. I mean, he called it his biggest challenge, and we all know why that will be, depending on what the challenge is. But it looks maybe starting to get something across.
I think he is coming across in the games. You can see the intensity. You can see I think you should look at where Højbjerg is these days. He's right on that 6-yard box. He had a chance as well, which he missed. Where if you watch the game, so he is moving up. So he's pushing them really, really high. And the best thing, what I really liked, was even in the 92nd minute, Tanganga was running for a goal. Like if he had made that pass, Son was still running, trying to score that goal. So what is very clear is that he wants to kill games if they lead. He does not want them to hold back. And he's like, you can score more goals. And that's coming across. And that I think that's Conte style. He does not want it. It doesn't matter if you're 6 goals up. If you have a chance in 97th minute, you have to go for it. And the way Tanganga was running, and the whistle was called at that moment. But then I think it's helping a lot of players. You can see a lot of, I wouldn't say quality, but I would say a lot of effort being put. I don't know how sustainable this is going to be, because it's again back to back. It's not an easy. The next game as well is not that easy. It's. But then he is coming through. I'm definitely it does look that Son is benefiting out of it. Kane is benefiting out of it, and I think the biggest one is Lucas Moura, because he is finally kind of getting that limelight, which was not given to him for a really long time. Like all the managers, they've kind of gone. Lucas Moura is he got them to the final. He was the one who scored
The Champions League,
Champions, and so he was suddenly forgotten. But then you can see him back with his skills. He's quick. He's really quick. But then nobody used, and this is I am really liking the way it's shaping up as well. It's great to kind of, I would say it's Tottenham. We did expect Conte will have this impact. Like everybody knew that Conte, when he comes, he's not going to be like sitting. He's not going to be like, okay, let me give them time. I think Region made a statement or something. I was reading that this is the hardest week that they've had. Like, then there is no stopping and so on. The trainings have been back to back, and it's high intensity. So it's definitely coming through. I'm not seeing players complaining. I'm not seeing like once you're out in the field, you are like, okay, I'm not going to listen to what you told me or what you've been working on. They're putting the effort and they're working well. So it's good.
Yeah. Nishi, I mean, there's 3 trophies they're still fighting for. Spurs, League Cup, FA Cup, and the Conference League, not the Premier League, obviously. Do you think he can win a trophy this season? Do you think Spurs can win a trophy this season? Straight up, like no, it's not.
I mean, I was hoping that they'd win Conference League, right? But then they are losing against, I don't know, Mura, and then they lost against some team that were undecided on their name.
That was Rome. That was Jose. Roma. That was Roma. That was Jose Mourinho. That was Jose. Yeah, that's not. That's not. Spurs.
Yeah, it's still. Yeah. So I mean, but I agree with Knayha. If there's one thing Antonio Conte does is make sure that the players put everything they've got in the game. So that's definitely something that's a positive for Tottenham fans. But at Inter he had good players. At Chelsea he had good players. At Tottenham he has 9 idiots, Harry Kane and Heung-Min Son. right? So
We just thought about Lucas Moura
it's
being a
not
nice player. That's 8
really.
idiots.
I mean, yeah, he's okay. He's okay. I wouldn't really give him a place of his own yet, though, right? So, so that's pretty much what it is with Tottenham. But yeah, I mean, I expect them to do better than they have done before. Antonio Conte would definitely improve them this season. Their best bet is Europa Conference League. I don't expect them to be able to win, a FA Cup or a League Cup, unless it so happens that all of the big teams like Chelsea, City, Liverpool, United
Well, City are out.
somehow
United
decide
are
to
out.
lose
City is out,
against.
yeah.
Yeah.
City and United are out.
City United are out. Oh,
Yeah,
brilliant.
the Carabao Cup,
So
Yeah.
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 So unless it so happens that Chelsea and Liverpool play each other, one of them gets out, and then the remaining one happens to just lose against some random club out of nowhere, which can happen in a knockout game. I don't really see Tottenham winning any trophy, but still, the Conference League is the best bet that they have. But from a long-term perspective, Antonio Conte is probably the best coach they could have got. I think there aren't many coaches out there who are better than Antonio Conte. So it's definitely a huge positive for Tottenham, and the fact that they, if next season they can if Daniel Levy decides to sell Kane, or even without selling Kane, just invest some money in the squad, which I'm sure Antonio Conte would have been promised some sort of investment when he was joining in. So if he gets
he's working on it.
Yeah, if he gets the players that he wants, next season we might see a very different Tottenham at all.
Yeah, just I was doing a quick search as well while you were talking. So they've got Rennes in the Conference League. Rennes are basically top of their group, but they've also already qualified for the next round. So that's their level on points with another team. So there's 7 points each. So they need to win that one to make sure that they qualify. But they could win it because Rennes have already qualified. They've got West Ham in the EFL Cup, which will be an interesting game, obviously one way or another. Chelsea, I believe they're playing Brentford. Arsenal plays Sunderland, and Liverpool play Leicester. So there is a chance that we could have Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Arsenal, Chelsea, and Spurs in the semi-final. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Which Arsenal would win, no matter how bad they are. They somehow managed to defeat Spurs.
I don't think that Spurs is going to win anything this season. That I really don't think so. It's good to kind of think about it, but I don't think they're gonna. It's too early. I think fatigue will hit, injuries will come, and the form will drop. So it's about kind of looking at what's exactly what Nishikant said. Like how does the transfer window look? Who do they get in? And they need to back players up, like have second choices, good choices that come in and make a difference in a game, rather than. Their best chance right now is Dele Alli. Come on, they bring Dele Alli on after 70th minute. I'm like, why? Like, why is that guy
but
even?
Dele Alli hasn't been performing for seasons.
Exactly. That's my point. I'm like, so that's your second choice. Like, that's your second choice. There has to be better, so that somebody who makes an impact. So I think they need a good transfer season for Conte to kind of make a stake.
Yeah, there's an interesting stat as well. Harry Kane has had more managers in the Premier League than goals in the Premier League. That's a wonderful one. But anyway, still true so far. But anyway, Nishikant, your score prediction for this one? Spurs against what are they playing?
Norwich. Sorry, Norwich. Yeah, they'll win this 2-0. I mean, Norwich are even worse than Spurs. That's Norwich should actually think about this comment. But they are worse than Spurs. So
2-0. Okay. Knayha, what do you think?
I think it's going to be a goal route. They're going to go all guns blazing. Just set a momentum tone, because they need to win the game midweek as well. And then they have Brighton, Leicester, Liverpool. So I think it's good. It's a good game to build momentum. I think they already have it with Brentford, but they would want to kind of leverage on that kind of good energy, and maybe 5-0 in my mind.
Yeah. I think it'll be something for 4 or 5-0. I think Kane will get a hat trick. as he normally gets against teams of this caliber. So yeah, just kidding.
Finally, he will be able to kind of get
I'm
out of
sure
like
Norwich
more
are better
managers.
than San Marino.
Yeah, well, yes, that's true. But he has been scoring a lot of goals in the Conference League against other teams as well. So it's not like he hasn't been scoring goals. He just hasn't been scoring them in the Premier League. So I think Norwich is probably the closest you would get to a Conference League team in the Premier League at least. So yeah, I mean, well, interesting. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it's going to be a big bout. We'll move on. We'll talk about Liverpool against Wolves because that's another one. Liverpool. I mean, we're talking about their defense for a while, yeah, but they look. I mean, there's something has changed. I don't know what has happened, but suddenly now the defense is clicking as well. The attack is obviously clicking. If anyone's going to stop Manchester City, it's going to be Liverpool.
I think it's, when you look at Mo Salah scoring with that confidence, the whole team just looks at him and be like, why are we not at that level? What's wrong? Like, why can't we just step it up and then score or kind of be at that level? He has single-handedly, if Liverpool wins this season, he has single-handedly been given this to them. Like he has, because Trent, if you the start of the season was his worst. He had an injury, he comes back, and then Salah goes on a run, and Trent has a run of assists. So things have started clicking in really, really well at the right time for Jurgen Klopp. Yeah. I think defensively, of course, Van Dijk will like he is no longer he has now admitted or kind of made himself at peace that he is going to just be a good defender, and if he gets and he's going to make sure that in Trent and Alisson has good support behind him. They don't have to worry. They can kind of press hard, and that's a system that's working. Even with Matip, they had Matip coming in. Robertson is also, again, they've stepped the game up. Even in the games where they don't feel you don't feel that maybe they're struggling. Like in the Everton game as well, like the goal that went, it was right through the middle, but they didn't lose composure. They were like, okay, it's fine. And because again, the confidence goes back. They have Salah. He will do something. You see Jota playing well. You suddenly start seeing Thiago scoring goals. Yeah. I'm like,
what a goal!
Exactly. Like what a goal! What a beauty! Like that, you've seen him play like this in Bayern Munich. And suddenly everything was lost, but then he's clicking. So I feel that Liverpool is a different beast right now. City, of course, are a different level. They have a lot of injuries right now. If Liverpool and City play today, Liverpool will kind of crush them. City does not have the squad that right now, but then City need to be at a different level altogether to beat Liverpool. I don't really see even City being at that level to stop them. It's going to take it's going to take some injuries to Liverpool players just to kind of get things shaken up. Henderson is scoring. Like, just look at the people who are scoring goals suddenly. Yeah. So so I feel that it's more like the whole team has stepped up. Of course, Salah has been consistent. Mane had a difficult start of the season. He was like nowhere, and then suddenly he's in form. Firmino being injured is a good juju. I don't know.
Jota, I think, someone who's very. I still feel that he's a little bit like he goes under the radar a little bit. I think he's someone who he scares me more than the others because he always seems to like just pop up with a goal when you need it. Like
absolutely, and the confidence that he has, like, and the confidence as well, like
it's annoying
the way
when he does
like,
that.
Absolutely, like he's always there. I'm like, how did he reach? Like, what's happening? Why is he here?
Nishikant, talking about Thiago, I mean, we used to call him thumbs up. Well, we're now tasting the thunder from him. So, that's what's happening. There's a little bit of a South Asian joke there.
One goal. So great goal. But
yeah, but he's been scoring goals. He's been getting assists. I think is he finally attuned to the Liverpool style?
And I'll give a few more games before I make any comment on it, because it's the comment that we have been making was after watching a lot of games where he didn't do anything, right? So Liverpool's definitely their team looks a lot more cohesive right now, and I think they are probably the scariest team in the league. They're the biggest threat for anyone who thinks that they could win the title. right? So I think, yeah. So any team that comes up against Liverpool, be it City or Chelsea or anyone, you're always at the risk of getting thrashed the way they are playing. And it's not just Mo Salah, Mane, Jota, everyone is contributing, and even Thiago has started right now, right? So it's definitely an incredible team. But specific to Thiago, he's had few good games, but I would still hold my judgment before putting any garlands over him and
Yeah,
calling him.
I tried to have Nishikant there purposely leaving Chelsea out. It was like, well, no one will leave Chelsea out, but then Nishikant is like, no, Chelsea have to be included as well in the title race. You can't just say City. So yeah, anyway,
what is interesting about Liverpool is like
I mean,
they
we're
have the
top of the
highest
league, so I
goal
can't really
difference
hide
as
from
well.
that.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
They have
Yeah.
the highest goal difference as well, like amongst all three. Like
Yeah, we'll
they're
actually
already at
talk
plus.
about goal difference because I actually have a very interesting question about that. We'll come to that later. Liverpool do have 1 point more than they should, because I think Chelsea should have won that game, and Anfield I think they were on. That's something. But I mean, we might look back at that result and go like, how did Chelsea get a draw out of that game at Anfield, and how did they do that? Well, maybe that will be a very defining point. So anyway, we'll see what happens there. They're taking on Wolves, who are kind of like a middling team. They do well, then they don't do so well. So I mean, I'm not. And Wolves, for me, I feel that they always bend over for Liverpool. I mean, they trouble every other team in the league, but then Liverpool come to town. They're like, well, okay, fair enough. How many goals do you want to score? Connor Cody is a ex-Liverpool player, so he's like, I could never make it for you guys, but I can help you. Here, so I don't know. That's something. But anyway, Knayha, what's your score prediction for that one? So I need to vent that out for Wolves because they annoy me.
I think it's 4-0.
4-0 to Wolves or to Liverpool?
Liverpool. Salah hat trick maybe. Could be fun.
Yes. Nishikant, what do you think?
4-1.
4-1. Okay. 4-0, 4-1.
To Liverpool.
Right. Yeah, they might get one.
Not that anyone thought I'm saying 4-1 to Wolves, but let me just say to Liverpool.
No, I know. And so I think you guys are spot on. I think I'll say 3-0 to Liverpool. It almost, as I've said this before, I think City is almost like a death by 1,000 cuts. I've always said this. It is like, playing City is like getting dead by 1,000 cuts, and when you play Liverpool, it's like going against a bazooka. Like you just don't realize it just comes in. That's what happens. So they're both painful in their own ways,
crazy.
but that's what they do. And speaking of City, we'll move on to Manchester City. Got a good win against West Ham actually in the snow, which I thought was a very important 3 points that they could have easily not got because of the conditions. They rock up against Aston Villa. I mean, they win that one as well. I just feel City, I mean, they're not like Liverpool, but they execute a different kind of calm, don't they, Nishikant? It's like, you almost feel like once they're at a certain point in the game where they're up, we're like, well, that's okay. That's the game is done. They're just going to win it. And maybe Pep is like trying to conserve people's energy because he knows it's a long season. I don't know, but they just seem to like keep rolling.
Yeah, I guess it comes from the manager. Everyone knows exactly what they have to do. They're, Pep's been there for years now, and they kind of know how they need to play. It doesn't matter who's injured, whether they have a striker or they don't. Everyone knows how they need to move, what they need to do, how they need to control the game. And Pep's been known for that. His teams have always controlled the game really well. And that's exactly what Manchester City do. They might not be as swashbuckling as Liverpool and blowing teams away, but you go down, you go a goal down against Manchester City, and it's a pretty uphill task to come back, because they control the game so well that everyone has been thoroughly drilled and they know exactly what they need to do, where they need to be, and most importantly, where my partner is going to be, where my mates are. So everyone, and that's been a trademark of Pep Guardiola's teams, be it at Bayern, be it at, we all know Barcelona, and definitely now in Manchester City. So no surprises there.
Yeah, are strikers overrated? Because City surely don't need one. I guess the question is, City don't have a striker per se, but they have goal scorers. They have people who can score goals. So I don't think scoring goals is. I know people talk about XGs and things like that, but at the end of the day, it doesn't seem to be much of a problem for them because they gain the goals when they need to get them.
I think that's the Pep system. Like it doesn't matter. Like it's not about if any other, like if Liverpool didn't have 3 strikers, Jurgen Klopp's system won't work. Like that's how good Pep is. Like he's made a system where he's made a system where he's not basically he doesn't need a striker. He's made a system that works for him that way.
Yeah.
Bernardo Silva is playing at a level which we have seen him like 5 years ago, maybe. And he's back. That goal was like, do you need a striker if you look at that goal? Like the way the ball is moving, the suddenly comes in and he just side foots it to top corner. So I don't think they're over it, but it's a system that works for you. It's a system that works for Pep. He has, and that's his brilliance. Now, can you imagine that he is playing Premier League, Champions? He's like minus the cup. He's in all leagues, and then he's playing without a striker, and he's still winning. So, and I think that the objective is pretty clear for City. They have to get through this period because they know it's the hardest part. This is the part where they have generally crumbled as well. They've hit a rough patch. They've had suddenly a bad game, and then they go maybe 5th in December end, and then suddenly they have to pick up the pieces and then go on a crazy run where they don't concede or lose a game for like ages. So this is something which I think Pep has learned from maybe last year, where they just dropped the ball and it just went away. The confidence was shaken. Everyone was kind of making mistakes for no reason. So these are the games where he just wants the results. He's not thinking of scoring 6, 7, 5, 8, whatever. Just get the win, get the points in. Let's move on to the next game. So I think the objective is very clear. They don't have a striker. That's the reality. I don't think they're going to go for anybody in January. I don't know if they go for Vlahovic from Fiorentina. I don't know. Could be. I don't know.
Yeah,
but then
Vlahovic has been linked with the City, with Arsenal.
Exactly.
Everybody is probably the best striker available right now if you don't consider
Correct.
I mean, yeah, at cheap, what I mean.
Yeah.
Haaland and Mbappe are probably.
So even if they don't get him, I don't think they'd need him. They'll be like, okay, we're doing well. We don't need to pay you crazy money to. And also, what is interesting? I don't know if
I'm not sure if Vlahovic really suits City. You know, he's that tall, big striker like Edin Dzeko, right?
No, but then Pep could use him in a different way. So that's also something, Pep
has.
I
mean, you always need a backup striker when you.
Exactly. Like
even when you don't have a striker, even when you don't have a striker, you need a backup striker. Right? That was Jesus.
Because they're not scoring. They're not scoring goals with headers, so they're missing all on that side of it. So all goals have to be open play. So all ground, everything. So it's a lot of much work rather than kind of having one tall striker maybe just to finish or kill the game. But again, the point is, I also feel that it's maybe way Pep is thinking about his future as well. Because he has not said that, and he made a statement that this is, could be that if the only club he will coach ever when he's back it's City. So he's kind of starting. He's doing those talks which he did at Barcelona, where he's like, the only club that I will ever coach in Spain is Barcelona. And then when he was in Germany, he said the only club I'm going to ever coach is going to be Bayern Munich. He said it.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I mean, if you don't coach Bayern Munich, who do you coach in Germany? And if you don't
coach
Real and Barcelona, who else will you coach in Spain?
So, but then again, in a year and a half, he left that club. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think that's pretty common. Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, so he's very tactical about it as well. So I also feel that he's much more relaxed now. The team knows that they've spent enough time.
Yeah, but Bayern couldn't have backed him financially as City did. So probably that's why he's more relaxed now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
another
also,
thing
and
with
also
Bayern
the team.
is Niko Kovac won the double, right, with Bayern.
Yeah.
And so he won Premier League, so did Pep Guardiola. So pretty much there's no difference, right? Pep Guardiola inherited a treble winning team and could not win Champions League or could not even reach a final with them. Right. So I think the pressure at Bayern was probably a different kind of pressure, wherein winning the league alone is not considered success. Wherein maybe in Premier League, if you even if it's Manchester City, if you won the league, it's a successful season. Right. So there are, I guess, those are the things. Plus, obviously, the financial backing that he has at Manchester City. He wouldn't have gotten it at Barcelona. He wouldn't have gotten it at well, maybe he could have gotten it at Barcelona at that time, but definitely not at Bayern Munich right now or when he was there. So yeah, that probably is why.
Yeah, the striker thing is interesting because if you look at his career, I think Lewandowski aside, I don't think he's actually ever really Total
Yeah.
strikers. I mean, he fell out with Eto'o.
He had
fell out
David
with-
Villa and he played him as a winger on
Sorry.
the right. Even David Villa.
Yeah,
he
David
played him
Villa
on
played
the
as a
right.
left
Yeah.
wing, I think, right? Left wing.
Left wing. Sorry,
left
left
wing.
wing. Yeah.
The guy, I mean, he fell out with Ibrahimovic, he fell out with Mandzukic, he fell out with Aguero. He pretty much, even though he cried when he left, he didn't actually use him when he had the chance to. So I mean, yeah, I don't think Pep does strikers. I think he likes multifunctional players who can play up roles. So I don't think he likes those who can just play through the middle. And Lewandowski, for some reason, was an outlier, which I don't know how that happened, but yeah, I guess maybe that's because he's Robert Lewandowski. Yeah, that's it's a thing. It's an interesting thing. I mean, there's so many players that we can talk about at City, because I do feel though in some ways that he took the piss out of PSG by playing Zinchenko as a false nine. I think I was just like, I'm saying, okay, there you go. But anyway, we'll go to today's score predictions. I think we'll start with you, Knayha. This time, what do you think's going to be the score? They're playing Watford, so I mean,
Yeah, I think I don't know, 3-0 maybe, 3-0 to. The only problem with Watford is like they are surprising as well. So if I would say 3-1, then okay, they might concede. They might concede in my mind.
3-1. Yeah. Nishikant, what do you think?
3-0.
3-0 to City. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Watford are surprising. They do pull off. Yeah, they did well against United. They did well against Chelsea.
They
so
can.
make it.
And I'll be glad if they defeat City. I just don't see that happening.
I think everybody would be glad. Yeah.
City.
I think everybody would.
Chelsea will be happy. So,
yes, for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a walk in the park.
Oh my God, those are famous last words, aren't they? Famous last words, right? They walk in the park. Oh my God.
Nah.
Okay, well, I'm going to hashtag that because that is something very interesting. I'm going to hashtag that. I'm going to put that in the comments for people to know. This is what Nishikant has said after match day 2. Finally,
it's Watford. Yeah.
No, you know what? I think Nishad has some vendetta against Manchester clubs here because he never says it's a walk in the park for Chelsea. No. These are walk in the park for Manchester clubs. Anyway, speaking of Manchester clubs, we'll round this off because I know we're running out of time. So we're going to talk about Manchester United. Against Crystal Palace, I mean, we had Ralph Rangnick. He's finally in. All the work, visa permits, everything, whatever need to be done, got done. Had his first press conference today as well. And what's interesting though, I mean, obviously Carrick has left as well, so it's like almost like a clean break. But what are you expecting from United going into this game against Crystal Palace?
I just expect to win. That's it. I'm not expecting anything else. I don't want anything flashy. I don't want Ralph Rangnick to kind of be like, okay, I'm here. I don't want crazy stuff happening in the game and suddenly you're like, why are we changing this much? So I would just simply, a win is a good start. That's because this is a new beginning. You have to understand from how it's been. We've been speaking about it, and Ole going, Carrick starting again. And just and he leaves. He's the undefeated manager United ever had. So he comes, and then Ralph Rangnick comes in, and yeah, he's a legend now. So Ralph Rangnick comes in. It's not enough time. He had a press conference early morning so that he could spend some more time with the team and so on. He has a quick game, and Crystal Palace and United has generally not been that kind. Sometimes to United, sometimes yes, sometimes not. It's been one of those games where United kind of tries something fancy now and then fails. And you have Zaha suddenly scoring a couple of goals, and you have Benteke suddenly kind of putting headers not wide anymore but into the goal. So that's what my expectation is. I don't want him to change the squad much. I don't know what he does with the squad. First of all, I don't know what to expect. He likes good press, but if you mean good pressing is Fred running everywhere like crazy, that's not good press in my mind. I don't know how he's going to change it because he doesn't have that. Maybe Van der Beek. So I'm going with a clean slate here with basically now this is where we start again.
Yeah,
this is a good few.
This is basically our Norwich, right? This is our season starts now. That's
exactly.
It works for Arsenal. I would not say Arsenal. I would not say Norwich. It's United kind of again rebuilding as always, because it's not had a consistent rebuild. It's always been like we've tried to rebuild, we've broken, we've tried to rebuild, we've broken, we've tried, and it's fine. At least the good thing is the club always is trying. They're not just kind of giving up and being like, okay, what do you expect more from us? They're getting and the good part as well is like
if I just go by Ralph Rangnick's theory and the way he, people have been talking about it, there's a lot of analysis on it, the game, the style. What is interesting to me is that it brings change, and it also pushes people to perform more, because he is going to be key for the future of the club as well. Like there are so many contracts on the table right now that need to be sorted out. So I think everybody has to kind of look at that side. Like if United, right, all the players right now will be like, he's going to make decisions for next 2 years. He's going to be here.
Yeah, that's the plan. We'll see if that happens.
But I guess a win in my mind against Crystal Palace is a good start.
Yeah,
a steady start, and then we build from there.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I mean, yeah, I guess you can't expect too many changes. Nishikant, I mean, there's 3 players that are being talked about a lot. I mean, one, Cristiano Ronaldo, Harry Maguire, and Donny van de Beek right now. I mean, Donny van de Beek has been out of looking in. Now they're like, well, maybe he can finally start games. And then you've got Harry Maguire and Ronaldo, obviously for different reasons. What do you see the future for those 3 players under Rangnick? And I know it's only 6 months, but what do you see the future holding for those 3 players? Do you see them having a role at United? Do you see them being dropped?
It's really tough to judge Van de Beek, right? By any standards. Guy hasn't played at all, right? And the same thing happened. I can say the same thing happened in the Carrick, but really Carrick was there for 3 games. So that Carrick might be biased by the fact that his former boss had some sort of ideas, and he may just be capitalizing on that. So you never know. It's really tough to say what would happen to Van de Beek. Maybe he can, this could be a fresh start for him. He might get a new life under Ralph Rangnick. As far as Cristiano Ronaldo is concerned, I think the fact, he's not, probably if Rangnick is looking for a pressing game where, you press from the front, Cristiano is not the guy for that. But then whom would you bet if you want to get a certain goal? That would be Cristiano Ronaldo. So I think Cristiano still starts. He would probably still play Cristiano, because the world has not seen a goal scorer like him in last 20 years or so. So he still deserves his place. Harry Maguire should not be part of any top 5-6 Premier League team. So I think United, and he should definitely not be a captain of Manchester United. So Ralph Rangnick, or whether Ralph Rangnick makes a change or not, maybe he might not decide. He might decide against it, given that he's only there for 6 months, and might put this off for a longer run, because he's going to be there for next 2 years or so as a consultant or as a footballing director role, or he might just put it off for the next coach. It's their headache and not mine. All I need to do is finish in top 4, and that's what I have to do. So he might go around that way. But if he plays high line and very high pressing, very high tempo game, maybe Maguire is not the player for that. So he might keep him on bench and probably gradually fade him out. And eventually whoever becomes the captain in his absence would likely take over as the permanent captain for United. But that's just me, that's me speculating, and probably United fans wishful thinking that, Maguire is pushed out.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't blame that. Right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if you were to ask me, Maguire is not a United level player. Maguire is not a top 4 level player. Maguire is definitely not a captain material for Manchester United.
Yeah, it's a funny one with Harry Maguire, because at times, I mean, in a back 3, he does look like a serviceable defender. Like, I mean, he was in the Euro 2020 team of the tournament. So you don't just, I mean, I know international tournaments are really not the best place to judge players, but I mean, there's something there that he has. It's just, it's weird, because it just feels like, I mean, either whether he's not able to put, I mean, it's a different pressure to play 38 games in a season and then suddenly to play 50, 60 games in a season that you play in the Champions, when you're playing top clubs. A lot of people don't realize there's a step up there of playing 40, 50 games.
The guy has been relegated more times than he has won trophies. So,
well, I mean, those things are there, right? But I mean, it's a different pressure. I think, I don't know, maybe he doesn't have the aptitude, the mentality.
I think it's more about the way he. I think he's yet to cope with the fact that he is at Manchester United.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you guys keep him as a backup center back, right? You could probably
but-
go easy on him.
Yeah, but
right?
then
maybe he's a
we
second
spent like
choice,
80
a third
million on
choice.
him and 70 million. You can't.
Yeah,
keep him
yeah,
as a-
that price definitely doesn't.
It doesn't help.
bode
It
well.
doesn't
Yeah,
help at
it
all.
doesn't help for him. It doesn't
Exactly. So,
help
but-
him. Doesn't help
yeah,
anyone.
Well, yeah.
I
Well,
don't
the other
think, but-
issue for him.
Yeah, but that I wouldn't blame him for.
Exactly.
He wasn't the one
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
said
well, the
that
other
price.
issue though, I mean, clearly the two best centre halves are Varane and Bailly at the club right now. If you go right now, the
Yeah.
problem is both of them are so injury prone. They will not play. They will be lucky if they last 5 games together.
Yeah.
So, at some point he will have to come back in the side. Him and that's the
Maybe
reason why him
Rangnick
and
will have
Lindelof-
some ideas for January transfer window. I mean, he's there. His main role is going to be someone who decide on
Yeah.
which player comes, which player goes, and all those things. So he might already have ideas, and probably it'd be wise if the club starts building from the January transfer window.
Yeah,
if
I think
what
that's
it
I think
comes
that's
to.
exactly what I was thinking. Like because
It might
he has a nice window. He has a lot of contracts on the table. He can start discussing and kind of thinking about long term. He's there for 2 years advising, and I think interim manager is just, I think, a part of the job that he does. But there is a much more strategic level, like a sporting director. I think this is a good way also kind of I think the Spurs getting in Patrici kind of pushes everything, like, because suddenly now you feel it's actually serious. Now you can't have Woodward doing the business. He hasn't, he's okay. I wouldn't say he's the best. I won't say he's the worst. He's done what he could do best for him.
Nobody will say
what he
he's the
understood.
best.
He's a finance guy, and definitely
Exactly. So he
United
doesn't know
finances
football
are
and he
up.
doesn't understand. So he can't do that.
Anyway, yeah. I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on this as well. I think we
But I
could
guess
go on
Maguire
for
does start in my mind. I
hours.
don't think Rangnick will drop him in the first game. I think
Yeah,
what
probably not.
I get your point. I think he's going to make a point that he knows what, like, he plays him and then kind of
fades him away gradually.
Exactly.
I don't think
because-
anybody will be like
pushes him out
radically
gradually.
dropped
No.
right away. I think that
Yeah.
would be much of a
I don't
statement.
think he'll make a lot of changes in the first game. I mean, he
he
would
won't.
like to see what players are,
Exactly.
trying to do. So that's for every manager, not just
Well,
Rangnick.
one play, Knayha, that stood out to me. I mean, I know Ronaldo scored 2 goals, Bruno scored a goal. The one play that, and I know Fred was like on pretty much like, I don't know what he was on, but he was on something that was going at a schizophrenic performance. But I think sometimes you thought he was playing for who would even play Arsenal, and sometimes you're playing for United. I don't know. But the one play that actually stood out for me was Jadon Sancho, because I mean, he played on the left. I don't think he had a remarkable game, but 2 crucial passes that led to goals. And playing on the left for some reason, I don't know why he played on the left, but he did. Are we starting to slowly start seeing glimpses of maybe why United decided to spend 75 million pounds on him?
See, that's the thing, that he's just had 2 games. He has just had 2
4
good
now,
games.
right?
Yeah, well, 4. Okay, if you want, 4 good games.
Yeah. Well,
And,
I mean, done the ones in the not other competitions too, right? So yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking Premier League only, because I feel that the intensity in Premier League is much bigger.
Okay.
It's other than I think Europe is much more like a way to kind of side hustle kind of a thing. Okay, you do well there, it doesn't. But then because Premier League is kind of because where is United getting pressured the most? That's Premier League. So you need to perform there rather than prove yourself that you're top 1 or 2. You're fighting there 1 and number 2. So I feel that. So Sancho's had a good couple of games. I'm not denying he's not a good talent. He's an amazing talent, but he needs to build on this. The problem with players with Sancho is that I'm not saying that it's him, but there is no consistency. You can't really trust them. You can't be like, okay, he's going to perform week in, week out. He's going to have a good game once, twice, thrice. But then can he go at Bruno level? Like when Bruno came, like 15 games, amazing. Like 17, 20 games, the best playmaker ever for United. That's what Sancho should look for. And I think he has that capability. I'm not denying the talent. But if he's waiting for Haaland to come for Borussia to help him, that's going to take longer.
Yeah.
I want him to, maybe, but he is key. He's key here because it's a long season. It's a lot of games. He will get a lot of chances. And I think Ralf Rangnick is one of those he's one of those managers who likes to kind of throw in the towel for a young player and be like, let's see, let's just play the whole, like Greenwood did. Like we had Greenwood as well the same way. But Sancho, you spend so much money, and again, he is new. He needs time and he needs nurturing. And if you give him that, he's a top talent.
Yeah, I think it's he's getting there slowly. I mean, obviously doesn't have the replays right and does well on the right, and then suddenly the matches says go play on the left. I don't know why he did that, but anyway, Nishikant, a quick score prediction for this one. United against Crystal Palace.
2-1.
2-1. Knayha, what do you think?
To United. Yeah.
To United.
I think it's a
2-1.
1-0 to United.
2-1 United, 1-0 United. Interesting. Knayha is thinking that they'll keep a clean sheet, something that they don't really do that much. But
yeah, which is why I said 2-1.
That'll be interesting. They haven't kept a clean sheet, by the way, I think for 15 or 16 games now at Old Trafford. They haven't kept one. So that's a weird statistic. But anyway, we've got 2 more questions because we're going to wrap this up very quickly. So we'll start with this.
What's your prediction on that, Roy?
I'm sorry?
What's your prediction?
I don't know. Every bone in my body is telling me that this is going to be one of those games where you think it's all going to go right and then it all goes wrong. So I just
that's what every bone in your body
that's why I'm saying.
No, you see what I predicted United to win a game and then they lost it. Okay, so see, I predicted United to win against Watford. They lost and Ollie got sacked. Okay, I don't want to do that to Ralph in his first.
Ralph is not getting sacked, so don't worry about that.
Oh God, no, it's hard to say, isn't it? You know what? I just have a feeling. I have a feeling this one is going to be a 3-3 draw. I just have a feeling because they're going to be playing a new style. They're going to be playing something that's totally different. I just have a feeling Maguire is going to dawdle on the ball at some point. He's going to give a goal. Something, I don't know, Fred might just, decide, what, I've stamped on the hair. This time I'm going to stamp on some other player. I don't know. I just have a feeling that it's going to be like a high scoring draw. But you know what? I'd rather take a entertaining 3-3 draw than a 0-0 draw or whatever. So I'm not worried about that. But I just have a feeling it's going to be one of those high scoring games. To know. Yeah, I think it'll be that. But there's a couple of questions that I do want to watch out though. Nishikant, we talk about goal difference. And this is an interesting one. The top 3 have like an amazing, incredible goal differences. I just go through this right now. 33, 32, and 31. That is the goal difference for those 3 teams. And then, that's the points. 27, 21, and 31. That is the goal difference. And then you got West Ham on 8. And then everybody else is like minus or 0 or thereabouts. Like there's literally only 2 teams that have a 0 goal difference and everybody else is a -1. We're talking everybody beyond top 4. I mean, that is just, what does that...
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, is it that those 3 teams are just beyond everyone else? I don't know. Is it like a case of the other teams being shit? Is it the case of the top 3 being really, really good? I
think it's a case of top 3 being really, really good. If you look, if we see, down from top 4, that just tells me that every team is scoring, right? Every team has players who can score against any other team, right? And when it comes to Liverpool, they have conceded, more goals than the other top 2 team. But then they have scored. They are the highest goal scorer in the league by some distance, right? So I think it shows the competitiveness of the league as well, and also the fact that the top 3 have been really, really good. City and Chelsea, you could say, have been amazing defensively, and Liverpool have just been blowing everyone out of the park with their attacking style. And the others have, other games, other teams have been, coming across teams who, are pretty competitive. So it hasn't been, anything like, bottom teams are not being able to, lesser teams are not being able to score a lot, and top teams are just, obviously they're gonna score more than them, but it's been quite competitive. So yeah, I don't really know what to make of this, but yeah,
it's just class. I think they're just showing the class that they all like, and you have to. I don't think it's now. I don't think it's this season. It's just showing this season so starkly. I think it's,
or maybe it's a shift towards teams trying to score more. Trying to play a bit more attacking football. Yeah,
exactly. I think it's just been building over the last couple of seasons. Like you see them always pushing for more. Like, and these are the 3 clubs who have consistently been on top. Okay, Chelsea scraped through last season, but then Nishikant, you can say whatever, but they were really brilliant throughout. They did really well in
Champions
Europe
League,
and
yes.
Yeah, and in Premier League they were doing well. They had a tough time. Okay, Lampard and but then
I mean, even with Lampard, we did really. We had like I think 10 or 12 games where we went undefeated or some
Exactly. So
yeah,
so it's been so what I'm trying to say is like they have tasted this consistency. So they know what it takes to kind of be at this level. We're in game week 14. We're getting into game week 14, and look at the goal difference. So these are clubs who know how to score like 100 goals, who have to have a goal difference of 100 points, 100 points. Like, so the mentality is way different. So this is what I really love about this title race as well, is the fact that these three clubs have over the last 3 years built themselves to that level that you can really see the difference. You can have a one-off game, like you can lose to Wolves, you can lose to Arsenal, what top three can lose to any random team once in a while, but then they know how to bounce back. They know what it takes to kind of come back, and because they've had that pressure for last 5 seasons, 3 seasons, 4 seasons, and all have been winners, like in some capacity. City have been winning the league, Liverpool won the league, Champions League, Chelsea won the league, Chelsea won with the Champions League. So that's what is clearly showing, and you can see the struggles from 4 to, like, I think you can go down to 10. You can see where Leicester is. You can see how Leicester is struggling. You can look at United, like, of course, I'm very clear, everyone knows what United is going through. Spurs. So it just takes, you have to have that winning mentality. You have to have that, you need to go through that real pressure and then come out of it. Of course, it's all to managers. Of course, it's also the way the managers and the players respond to this. So that, I'm just looking at what Bundesliga is like. The plus 24 Bayern, and the next is plus 16 or something. So there is no league right now. Even I think the La Liga is not there. I think it's completely, and I think it also shows everybody wants to be here. Like, look at the managers.
Yeah.
Look at the if you just mark the managers who are like Norwich, you look at who people are fighting about Norwich jobs on Premier League.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the place to be. If Spain has the best players, and if Germany has the best players, we have the best coaches, and I guess that would probably attract the better players, and also other coaches who want to compete against these people. Right?
Absolutely.
That's a wonderful. Yeah, it's a good output for the league, and that's why the European Super League had 6 Premier League teams. The only league that's 6 one, because then I mean it's something, isn't it?
Yeah, Spurs made the cut, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Spurs was there.
Spurs did. I mean, I was surprised that
16,
Arsenal did.
Spurs, Arsenal. I mean, United made the cut. I mean, I know what Super League would ever have those 3 teams in them on current form anyway. But yeah, anyway, that's a different conversation for another day. I'm sure we'll have that again in a couple of years. That's not gone anywhere.
Absolutely.
I'm sure we'll have that. But anyway, on that note, final questions for you guys. Nishikant, who's your if anybody's doing their fantasy Premier League team, what's your one pick for them that must have for this weekend?
I really do not. I know you asked me this last time, and I have absolutely no clue about fantasy Premier League.
It's a
but
player
this
that
time,
you watch.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about, I'd say West Ham. Choose some players from there, because given the game that they have, Chelsea.
They're playing Chelsea. Who picks
up
Chelsea? Oh my God!
I know.
So, pick a West Ham player so you can jinx them. That's Nishikant. Yeah, pick a West Ham player so you can jinx them. Oh my God!
Nishikant, I have 2 defenders from Chelsea already. I've already said.
Yeah, I mean, definitely you can pick Chelsea defenders if you want to make.
I'm picking anyone from West Ham.
Chelsea
I sold
team.
Antonio.
Yeah, but if you want to pick attackers, don't go for Chelsea. Pick someone like, I mean, Salah is the obvious choice, obviously. Apart from that, you can pick probably,
maybe Mount scores a hat trick.
I know.
Yeah.
You know what?
I don't think
you're not going to ask
Nishikant
this question, because this is not like an exercise in jinxing. Okay, Knayha, who do you think?
No, but I know my team, man. We cannot score. I get surprised by the fact that Chelsea right now have 33 goals. I was looking at the table when you asked us to, and I was surprised that we have 33 goals. I knew we haven't conceded a lot. I was not expecting that we would have scored that many goals. I think it's the second highest goals probably in the Yeah, it is second highest in the
And Lukaku
league.
is still not started scoring. So
Yeah, Lukaku hasn't started scoring, and that worries me, right? We don't have Ben Chilwell. We don't. I don't know the exact who has scored how many, but if probably Ben Chilwell and Reece James
I
combined
think
would
there have
have
been
had
17
50% of
scores.
our goals.
I think 17
Okay.
scorers.
Yeah, we're kind of.
Chelsea?
Yeah, we have a lot of scorers. 17.
Yeah, so
17. Yeah.
that's
Okay,
a good
we
thing,
kind
right?
of,
You scored a lot of goals.
Yeah, we've kind of
Yeah.
gone long already. I think people are kind of
Yeah.
waiting for a little bit. So, can I just quickly, who's your pick? I mean, I just
I think it's Son.
ranting session uses everything.
I think it's Son in my mind. Heung-Min Son
Yeah,
against Norwich.
Son.
So he's
Son.
a must-have in my mind.
Yeah, well, yeah, the Spurs are playing Norwich, right? So yeah, you pick Son.
Yeah.
You know what? I will take a page from Nishikant's book, and I will say, put Wilfred Zaha in your team. That's who you should pick. Pick Wilfred Zaha in your team. That's yes, you do. Okay. Oh my god, it's just so funny. But anyway, thank you, Nishikant. Thank you, Knayha, for this wonderful, insightful show. I know we went quite a bit longer than usual, but we're kind of doing 2 shows at once, so that's why we have kind of gone a bit long. But I hope you enjoyed the analysis discussion. And if you have any comments, just let us know in the let us know as well. What do you think of the games? What did you think? What do you think will happen? What do you want to see this weekend? Let us know. I'm happy to read those out and check those out. If you did enjoy the show, please also remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And have a great day or night, whatever time you're watching this. And we'll see you again very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, by the way, yes, thank you, Nishikant. Thank you, Knayha, for joining. Really
Thanks,
appreciate your
sir.
insights
Thanks
as well.
for having us.
Yes. Thanks, everyone. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.